World's 12th International Conference, RC 2018. We have agenda for the closing session. We plan to finish our agenda.
Microphone, please.
Microphone?
Microphone.
It's working. Okay. We have agenda. We plan to finish our agenda in 20 minutes. We start by Dr. Saleh Misbah. Dr. Saleh. لا يوم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today it's my pleasure to announce the celebration of the closing session for the 12th International Conference of the African of the RC 2018, which is held from 25th till 29th of October for 5 days. This is the 12th International Conference of the African Association for Remote Sensing of the Environment. For this year, the chosen theme for this conference is Earth Observation and Geospatial Sciences grouping for the in the service of Sustainable Development Goals. Earth Observation as Geospatial Sciences in service of the Sustainable Development Goals. This conference is co-organized by the Arab Academy for Science, Technology and Maritime Transport, the African Association for Remote Sensing of the Environment, and the National Authority for Remote Sensing and Space Sciences, and it is hosted in the Arab Academy for Science, Technology and Maritime Transport. RC 2018 showed the emerging interest and concern of the interested researchers and organizations in space science and technology in Africa. There are many research papers, posters, and innovative projects submitted and presented by space community members in Africa. These are addressing the main problems in the African continent. Besides the technical sessions, there are 4 workshops organized by the European Space Agency, Professor Kamal Belbasi on water research, water resources special session, and by European Space Agency with titled Cloud Computing with Sentinels, and two other workshops related to the Africa Space Entrepreneurship, attended by 14 participants. 25 participated in the second workshop, organized by ESA, Cloud Computing with Sentinels. 14 attendants for the Africa Space Community Workshop, and 9 in the water special session on Earth observation data and science for water sustainability in Africa. There are 193 submissions to the conference, 174 online registration, 118 confirmation for attendance, and 51 on-desk registration. 57 papers presented in the technical sessions in the 5 days of the conference. These participants are from 37 countries. The majority are from Egypt and Nigeria. And now we I'd like to move to the second item in the closing session agenda, which is the announcement, which is appreciation of sponsors and local organizing committee, and the announcement for the best paper and poster awards will be postponed shortly and announced after 2 items. Okay, please, Professor Gidi is down for the our appreciation
Thank you very much. Welcome, distinguished participants, to the closing session. We take the Best Paper Award as Item 7. The committee and members are working on it. Now we will give some award to. I would like to recognize as the hardworking members of the LOC. Before then, I would like to give the award of sponsorship to one of the sponsors who is still here, and that is the African Union Commission. I would like to call on Dr. Tidiane Ouattara. This certificate of appreciation to African Union Commission is for the sponsorship of AAST 2018, the 12th International Conference of the African Association of Remote Sensors of the Environment, held at the Arab Academy for Science, Technology and Maritime Transport, 25th to 29th October 2018, signed by the Chairman of the Local Organizing Committee, Professor Dr. Allah Abdel-Wahed Abdel-Bari, and Professor Jide Kufoni, President of the African Association of Remote Sensing of the Environment. Thank you very much. Yes, this conference would not have been possible without some people working tirelessly for these past 2 years. The conference venue was announced in Kampala in October 2016, and since then, the Arab Academy and NAS have been working tirelessly. They set up a committee to do the work. There are so many other people working in the background, but we will use just a few members of these hardworking members of the two institutions just to convey the appreciation of the African Association of Remote Sensors of the Environment for this wonderful work that you have done for the conference, successful conference which you have organized. So I would like first to call on Professor Mahmoud Hussein, the conference chair, Thank you. The President of NAS, thank you very much. The Chairman of the Local Organizing Committee, I would like to call on Professor Dr. Allah Abdel-Wahed Abdel-Bari. Now, Professor Allah just told me that they will be willing to, they want to even bid for the next one again. I remind you, we were here in 2006 in Cairo, hosted by NAS. So we're here now. Actually, North Africa was supposed to have waited till maybe 2022, but they came powerfully to Uganda, and then we are here. We are happy that we are here. And with what we saw and the sitting facility exercise that we did during the gala dinner, and the sumptuous way we've been entertained, I promise you that the Council of AAST will consider the application to come back very soon to Alexandra again. Thank you. I would like to call on another member of the Local Organizing Committee, Professor Amin Ali Hazan. Yes, Professor Syed Arafat from NAS. Another member of the local organizing committee who also doubles as the Councillor for Northern Africa, a member of Council of AAST, Professor Islam Abu Elmal. Dr. Saleh will call for him. He took excuse yesterday to attend to an urgent matter. I would like to call on Dr. Nassar Mohammed El-Maghrabi, member of the local organizing committee. Dr. Saleh Mesbah. Yes, we received series of letters, invitation letters, and stuff like that. Dr. Amira Ibrahim. Yes, there are many of them, but like I said at the beginning, we just want to use this few to convey our appreciation. So I call lastly Dr. Ratwa Ahmed Osman.
Thank you, Professor J.D., as President. And now we move to the next item in the closing session agenda. I'd like to invite Professor Kamal Abbasi, the General Secretary of ARSI, who will present the conference declaration.
Thank you, Dr. Saad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. As the Alexandria Declaration for 29th of October 2018. Delegate from 37 countries present at the 12th International AAST Conference on Earth Observation and Geospatial Science and Services to the Sustainable Development Goal, held at Alexandria, Egypt from 25 to 29 October 2018, recognizing the role of the Earth observation in developing accurate geospatial data sets. No. No. I will read.
Please, you can quickly take it and project it. And it's easy for them to follow.
Yes, sir. Just 1 minute. I go from the beginning. But delegates from 37 countries present at the 12th International Arts Conference on Earth Observation and Geospatial Science Initiatives to Sustainable Development Goals, held at Alexandria, Egypt from 25 to 29 October 2018, recognizing the role of the Earth observation in developing accurate geospatial data sets, information, and knowledge to support the effort of nations in achieving their national development agenda, noting the importance of Earth observation and geospatial science and technology products and services in attaining the Sustainable Development Goal and the African Union Agenda 2063, as well as the African Action Plan on the United Nations Global Geospatial Information Management and the Polar K National Development and Cooperative Relation Strategy, recognizing the final adoption of the African Space Policy and Strategy by the African Union Summit of Heads of State, recognizing the adoption of the Statute of the African Space Agency by the African Union Summit of Heads of Space to start the processes of the implementation of the African Space Policy and Strategy, recognizing the importance of Africa's participation and contribution to the implementation of the Geo-2060 to 2025 strategic plan through the AfriGeoSS, and noting an increase in a number of African countries and organizations participating in Geo, noting that Africa is making a major stride in space science and technology development, with several countries developing successful space programs, including acquiring its own Earth observation satellite, recognizing the need to move from policy and strategy toward proper implementation and action in realizing the benefit of Earth observation from space and geospatial information, recognizing the necessity to build on existing capacity across the value chain from research and development to technology application and operation, recognizing the achievement of arts over the past 2 decades as a major point of contact and facilitator of Earth observation and geospatial information activity in Africa, recognizing the role and contribution of the African Union and the United Nations Agency such as the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa and America, and building on a previous declaration and multilateral coordination initiative in space science and technology for sustainable development in Africa, recognizing the importance and success of continued long-term collaboration between international partners and African scientists in various joint programs, welcoming the input from international scientific society like including the IEEE Geoscience and Remote Sensing Society and the International Society for Digital Arts and the International Society for Photography and Remote Sensing that support the building of science in Africa, recognizing the role played by GMS and Africa in implementing Earth observation for regional and continental scale for societal benefit, recognizing the significant contribution of the United Program, including UNDP, UNEP, WFP, etc., recognizing the solution inherent in remote sensing in the elevation of compounding environmental factors related to disaster, epidemic, poverty, and economic recession, recognizing the significant impact of global climate change on African community and the need to mitigate the impact and reverse the trend, affirming the commitment of us to the realization of the above-mentioned initiative and program, declared and called on the African Union and the African government to 1. Support the implementation of the Pan-African space policy and strategy, and recognize the necessity for establishing the African Space Agency to manage and coordinate the implementation. So, urge African Nation, Space Agency, and Remote Sensing Organization to contribute to the implementation of the Pan-African Space Policy and Strategy. 3. Encourage the development of national space policy and strategy flowing from and in line with the Pan-African Space Policy. 4. Support the African Union Commission to strengthen African space science and technology capability across the continent for the development of the African nation. 5. Ensure the realization of the African Union Agenda 2063 and the African Action Plan on the United Nations Global Geospatial Information Management. 6. Stimulate African dialogue on space as a front runner for innovation, technology development, and job creation. 7. Build and invest in African capacity and capability in both human resources and technology. 8. Encourage and support African universities and other institutions of higher education through adequate funding for fundamental and applied research and training in Earth observation and geoinformation science and technology, including the measuring the indicator of the target to be achieved by the Sustainable Development Goals. 9. Strengthen public-private partnership in space related to gross activity and services delivered by private sector companies based on space-related data. 10. Recognize the role of specialized institutions at both the national and continental level in geoinformation and Earth observation, and the role that they can play with us to improve the knowledge and capacity in Africa. 11. Increase local investment to complement external investment to ensure sustainability of Earth observation in Africa. And finally, 12. Inspire Africa's youth to innovative space-based education and outreach program. Seen it in Alexandria, Egypt on 29 October 2018 by Professor Olivier Koufoni, President of AAST, Professor Ala Abdelghani, Vice President of AAST, and Professor Mahmoud Hussein, Head of NAS.
Distinguished participants, this could be our declaration, that's Alexandra Declaration 2018. We're happy with this declaration. Can we affirm by clapping? Thank you very much. So this declaration will be signed by the three of us. A copy will be handed over to the AUC right here, and we'll request him to give the one for the UNC on our behalf, and then others will be sent through the normal courier. Thank you very much. So we'll move to the next item.
Thank you, Professor Kamal Abassi. And now, I'd like to invite Professor Geo Koufoni, the RZ President, for a short comment on the conference and to introduce the new RZ President.
Not yet. The Secretary General will tell us where we are going in 2020 and the date.
Well, the next conference of RC, the KC conference, will be held in Rwanda by the Institute of Applied Science in Rwanda of Rwanda. And the proposal there is 26 to 30 of October 2020. Okay.
Now, I'd like to invite Professor Tidiane Utara from the African Union Commission to give us his concluding remarks and comments.
Thank you very much, Professor Saleh. Dear Professor Alal Bederick, Vice President of Arab Academy for Science and Technology. Dear Professor Mahmoud Hussein, President of NARS. Dear Professor Jide, former President of AAST.
Yes.
Dear Professor Kamal Labasi, current new President of AAST.
Not yet.
He doesn't want to lose his power. Let me congratulate all of us. Especially let me congratulate the local organizing committee for the excellent organization. I would say that from my part, the food was so delicious. Our belly increased a little bit. Do not worry, it is a sign of prosperity in my culture. We are all prosperous people. This being said, we had an excellent working week, full of strategic and technical presentations. Yes, that was an opportunity for me, as usual, to update my knowledge on the advancement in remote sensing or Earth observation areas. Moreover, I have met with new friends, therefore increasing my network. I do not have any doubt that you also did the same. That is the importance and the relevancy of a conference, mainly a continental conference. The African Union Commission took act and congratulated Professor Kamal Labasi for his election as RC new president. Professor Labasi, be assured that AUC will stand with you and with your bureau to implement the declaration made today as conclusion of RC 12 conference. This declaration is fully aligned with the aspirations of the Agenda 2063 and the African Space Policy and Strategy goals and objectives. Today is just the end of an event, the 12th conference, but it is the beginning of a new journey toward Rwanda. Also, a new journey toward learning more on space matters, mainly Earth observation. I don't want to be long. I just want, again, to congratulate all of us, to wish to all of us a safe trip back home. We are together. We should stand for the new era in Africa, the era that brings us to the sustainable development of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Tidara. Actually, now it's the talk of Professor Gili Kufini. still president of RC. Actually, I first met Professor GD in Uganda in 2016. He was a nice guy, and I see a lot of efforts done during the last 20 years and a lot of communications for the success of this conference. So he'll come to give his comments and concluding remarks, please.
Thank you, Dr. Saleh Mesbah. Actually, this is supposed to be given immediately after the announcement of the Best Paper Award, because that I'm still supposed to sign as the president of AAST. But nonetheless, we will assume that I have signed, and so I will continue with this program so that we do not get delayed. The president of NAS, president of AAST, chairperson of the LOC, distinguished participants, the AUC, my good friend Dr. Tidiane Ouattara, distinguished participants. This is a short statement, it will be long, but it is actually good for me to mention some things before I hand over to the next president. This will be my last session as president of AAST, to address you as president of AAST. And so it's been a very good and worthwhile effort since I've been chairing AAST since 2010, a period of 8 years. And together we work together to achieve some things and move the association forward, which was founded in 1992. And I'm happy that one of the founders is here seated, Dr. Echo, so say hi with that. So it will continue to work stronger, and I assure the incoming president of my unalloyed support. I would like to place on record the unflinching support of all members of Executive Council through the changes since 2010. I'd like to place on record the support of all the local organizing committees of all the conferences, 2012 in Morocco, 2014 in Johannesburg, and 2016 in Kampala, and now here. I'd like to place on record the support and unflinching cooperation of all members of AAST. I thank you very much. I appreciate your effort, and I will promise that I still continue to give my commitment to the association, which I really believe so much in, that it can do a lot to achieve the greatness for Africa. And I'm very happy about the role the African Union Commission is playing, especially since our friend Dr. Tidiane Ouattara decided to come back home to support, and together we'll continue to move Africa forward and ensure the rapid uptake of life observation and geospatial information technology for the rapid and sustainable development of our dear continent. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you the new president of AAST. He will take office after the closing. Just to remind you, so you should not sign anything yet. Now, on a more serious note, Professor Kamal Abbasi was the chair of the local organizing committee for AAST 2012 in Jadida. Those of us who were there, we know how tirelessly he worked and the efforts he made and the success of that particular conference. Since then, he has not looked back. He's been working and very committed to your association. He served as the Secretary General, and now the General Assembly yesterday ratified that Professor Kamal Abbasi should be the new president. He is from Joai Bukali University in Jadida, in the Faculty of Science, Department of Geoscience. He is actually anchoring the VAR implementation in Africa, the very first one. We are assuring you of our support, and I'd like to
Thank you, Professor Jerry, and thank you for, and appreciate all your efforts as President of AAST during the last 8 years. And now we have a new President, and I'd like to invite him to talk to the AAST, to the conference participants, and we wish him all success in his new job. Please.
It is very difficult to give a comment at this moment. Well, first of all, I would like to thank. I will be very grateful to our colleagues in the Executive Council and the Board of Trustees of our association, but also for all members of our association for this nomination. I hope that they will be up to the task, because this is a very big challenge for me. But I am confident that with the help and support of all members, all partners, we could move forward. I will be listening to any advice and comment from any member of our association, from our partners, and I hope we can work together to run our association forward. Thank you for all, and I am I don't know how we can this in English, my friend, emu. Thank you for following.
Are you ready, or can we move to the next item and give you more time? Harold is working hard to select and decide which is the best paper presented and the best paper, best poster presented in the conference. We had a lot of work working and selecting, moving from evaluation sheets of the presented papers. He did a lot of work actually in this short time, and he now will announce which is selected for the best awards.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished hosts. Again, a thank you from the Board of Trustees of AAST, in particular my role here on behalf of the European Space Agency to announce the awards. We deeply appreciate the hospitality of the local organising committee and the Academy and the Space Agency of Egypt. As part of the development of the science of remote sensing and applications to the environment, AAST has instituted, together with the European Space Agency, a series of awards to be given at each of our conferences in recognition of the best papers and the best posters that are presented at the conference. Unfortunately, this is not like the first year of school or the end of year pageant, where every young child is a fairy, and every young boy child is a mushroom, and everybody can come up onto the stage. We have to make tough choices among the many excellent presentations that have been made at this conference to select the best of the best. So you've all done very well. Come all this way to present your science and the output of all your months and years of scientific research, and we appreciate that. But ultimately, the committee has to decide, and with respect to the posters, it was a relatively small poster session, so we have this year made one award, and this award is made to Mahwa Hamid, Abdul Rahman, and Heshman Abdul Sood for their poster. Can we stand here for a photograph?
Yes,
must tell you that these awards come with a cash prize. So we will I've got the cash, I'll give it to you afterwards, and we will print the certificates, but I've put the certificate up there so you can see that the certificate's real. Don't leave without the certificate or the money.
I will do so. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, and very well.
Thank you very much.
This particular poster, if you'll permit me, was particularly interesting because remote sensing was used initially with digital elevation data and earth quality data to map the soil quality, so that in contrast to earlier geological processes where the geologist went from place to place and collected dozens or hundreds of samples for analysis, the remote sensing was used to inform the field work, so that the field work was very efficient. You could go and take selected few samples and do a detailed intensive analysis of few samples to get a much more refined result than would be otherwise be possible. So this particular approach of remote sensing, guided field work, and then reinterpretation was a really impressive piece of work. And thank you for your presentation at the poster. And I'll take a little bit more time with the posters, because often posters are regarded not as the first level in a conference and always a consolation prize. But as you can see, your work can have great impact in this poster format. So again, well done in choosing that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. The process of selecting the best paper among 80 papers, and the selection process is quite heavily influenced by the actual presentation rather than on the paper copy. So we are under great pressure because the committee cannot attend 3 or 4 parallel sessions and know which are. So we rely on the chairpersons, the co-chairpersons, and members of the audience to do an evaluation certificate and to submit them. And as you know, the last technical session ended only an hour ago, so the committee then had to do the final selection. We had a detailed evaluation sheet, which I developed with the hosts, and thank you to those evaluators who took the care to fill in the forms properly, because that helped us, especially if you made comments, to decide among the many high scores. Those of you who are academics know how difficult it is to grade students' work, and of course there's a large standard deviation. So this year we have decided to make, instead of a first, second and third award, we made a joint first award of 2 papers and a joint second award of 2 papers. So the prize money will be split between the firsts, and the prize money for the second and third will be combined to make a split amount for the second and third. So I acknowledge up front that there's a very large standard deviation in this process. So if you didn't win, please, there are many fine papers, and those of you who are chairpersons, if you can see the presenters, you can pat them on the back and say, well, you really did good work, but you weren't quite as high. It might have been the different process, slightly different results, but nevertheless, there are winners. And the first, the award for the first joint second award goes to Ahmed Al-Zaini for his paper, Geomatics-Based Approach for Assessing Foreign Lake Pollution. Is Ahmed here? Congratulations, very well done. You co-authored. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and will you come to me afterwards?
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope you noticed the borders of the certificates that I made. I've been looking every morning from my hotel window into the Montezuma Palace Gardens with all the palm trees. Tomorrow, when I have a free day in Alexandria, I'm going to make a walk in that beautiful garden, and this was inspired to make the certificate. Okay, the next one is Al-Fatih Abdul Rahman for predicting the spatial distribution of the African citrus greening disease vector using an ecological niche modeling approach. Is Al-Fatih? Congratulations, very well done. Thank you. Okay, now we come to the joint winners of the first prize. I'm pleased to call up Marwa Musfata for a paper machine learning approach for estimating the water level in the Nile River Basin, Africa. Marwa? Congratulations, very well done. Very lovely. Thank you. Absolutely. And your student?
Yes.
I promise you there was no influence from the organizing committee.
Yeah.
And then I'd lastly like to call up Felix Rembold for his paper, Anomaly Hotspots of Agricultural Production, a New Early Warning Decision Support System. Is Felix Rembold still with us? No? No. Okay. Please give another round of applause. And again, remind you, please get your certificates and your cash prize in US dollars from me before departing this afternoon. Mr. Chairperson, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Harald, for this hard work to select and decide which papers and posters worth the awards. And I extend congratulations to the awardees for the first papers and posters. Actually, these conferences are organized by in collaboration between the National Authority for Remote Sensing and Space Sciences and the Arab Academy for Science and Technology as a co-organizer with the African Association of Remote Sensing. And with, I have to confess that the efforts and collaboration and help from our colleagues from NARS helped us too much to reach this level of organizations of the conference. And now I'd like to invite the President of the National Authority for Remote Sensing and Space Sciences, Professor Mahmoud Hussein, to give his concluding remarks and comments.
His Excellency, Professor Yusri Gamal, former Minister of Education and Vice President of Arab Science and Technology, Professor Dr. Ala Abdelbari, Vice President of Arab Academy of Science and Technology, and the conference chairman. Professor Jidi Tufunai, President of ARC. Professor Amr Ali Dean, Faculty of Engineer, Arab Academy of Science. Dr. Abbasi, President of ARC, new president, and Tidiane from African Union Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed delegations, professors, experts, and my colleagues, good afternoon. I congratulate you all and ourselves for the success of this conference, ARC 2018. This conference, you are working hard, and you have done this work for the last 5 days. The high attendance of African countries are playing an important role in the networking and gathering researchers and experts in the Earth observation and geoinformatics. I know that many technical sessions with very interesting and high-level research papers presented that reflected the main thematic area of interest in Africa and the globe. We thank all of you, presenters, for this good quality research and their effort that contributed to the success of this conference. We thank all the presenters for their contribution and outstanding presentation. Special thanks for AUC, my colleague Tidiane, for their significant support to ARC conference and delivering a very important plenary on how GMC and African program is a support instrument to the Earth observation applications in Africa. I'm sure that this conference has enabled all of us to take home a number of messages in all levels from policy makers to youth. I believe we have to work together to foster our network, to ensure value added of our research to the community, and encourage and support the African universities and other institutions of higher education to implement applied research in Earth observations and geoinformation for societal benefits. Ladies and gentlemen, once again I thank you all for your coming and contribution to this conference. Thanks to all of you. Thanks for sponsors and exhibitors who support us. Thanks to ARC Council for their continued support. Thanks to all of local organization, committee, head by Professor Abdelbari, for their hard work to make this event succeed. I will also take the opportunity to thank Jidi Tufunai for his leadership of ARC since this is his last term, and congratulate to Kamal, to Dr. Kamal, for being the future president of ARC, and wish him all of success in the future. I wish you all safe journey back home, and I hope you had a little time to explore the city of Alexandria. Finally, I would like to thank the Arab Academy of Science, led by Professor Ismail Abdel Ghaffar, for his effort, he and his colleague, to keep this conference, to host this conference, and to support. This is really reflect this very professional team working in this important area in Egypt. See you in the next ARC in 2020 in Rwanda. And finally, and before I end, I would like to thank my colleagues who were awarded from the European Union for peace papers, and this is really very important to us, and I thank him very much about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Mohammed Hussein, the President of the National Authority for Remote Sensing and Space Sciences. Professor Kamal Abazi, the new RC President, I would like to talk to the members.
Just to say one thing about this edition of RC here in Alexandria. Well, we have during this edition the opportunity to have with us the Dean, African Remote Sensing Specialist, Mrs. Shahina Youssef, with an excellent communication on the relationship between solar peaks and the rising of East Africa water lakes. Let's congratulate Mrs. Shahina. I don't know if she is
President of AAST.
The words of the chairman of the local organizing committee, Professor Ala Abdulbari, and as a member in his team, I'd like to appreciate his efforts and thank him on behalf of all my colleagues, members of the local organizing committee. He provided us all what we need and fulfilled our requirements on time, and actually we can succeed now. I'd like to invite him for his comments.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Saleh. On behalf of the organizing committee of RC 2018, I would like to thank all participants in our conference. Special thanks goes to NARS, Professor Dr. Mahmoud Hussein, RC, Professor Gidi, and Professor Kamal at the same time now, local organizing committee and scientific committee. Also, special thanks goes to our sponsor, especially AUC, Airbus, and the Academy for Scientific Research and Technology in Egypt. Also, I would like to thank all Arab Academy family and logistics department, and our friends in local organizing committee and in Arab Academy all in all, especially Professor Dr. Nasser al-Maghrabi, Professor Dr. Amr Ali. Dr. Amr is the Dean of College of Engineering Technology, that college which is hosting all technical workshops sessions. Also our friends in committee, Dr. Nizar al-Shinawi and Dr. Ayman Ziyad. I would like special thanks and appreciation to Engineer Ayman and Dr. Nizar, and please, Dr. Ayman. Nizar al-Shinawi. Nizar? Where is Nizar? Dr. Nasser? Also, I would like to thank all persons in my office, Hani, Lisim, Jahan, Saad, and all members. Special thanks goes to my boss and my president before, Dr. Yusri Gamal, former Minister of Education in Egypt. By the way, now in the closing session of our conference, tomorrow, I invite you to opening session in new conference. Yes, 28 conference of computer and applications. Dr. Yusri is the chair of the conference. Regular conference 20 years ago. I hope to be here tomorrow in the morning. Special thanks again to Dr. Amr. Dr. Amr, thank you again for all facilities in College of Engineering and Technology. Thank you for everybody here. We're looking forward to more cooperation in the future, either in conference, in research, and projects. Arab Academy, as I said in my word in the first day, is transferred to Arab African Academy. Thank you and welcome again. Now I invite Dr. Yusri Gamal. Dr. Yusri, please. Dr. Yusri, representative of His Excellency Professor Dr. Ismail Abdel Ghaffar, to give us a word of closing for this conference.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me honor and pleasure to share with you the closing session of this wonderful conference, RC 2018. Distinguished delegates from the 37 countries. Over the past 5 days, we had the opportunity to share technical presentations, workshops, discussion sessions, and we had the opportunity to know each other better. And that makes networking much easier in the near future, which is one of the great outcomes of this conference. And I hope that we will continue strongly in the future until we meet again in Rwanda 2020. I'd like to thank all those who contributed to the success of this conference. All members of the local industry, of the local organizing committee, they spared no effort to make your stay as comfortable as possible. Those people who are working hard in the organizing committee, within the conference and in transportation, in catering, all of them did their best to make this a memorable experience for you as the participants of this conference. I'd like to also congratulate Professor Dr. Kamal Labasi, the new president of RC, and I'd like also to congratulate those recipients of the best poster sessions and best paper sessions. I wish you all a safe trip back and a pleasant stay for the rest of your stay here in our wonderful city of Alexandria. May Allah bless you all, and we wish to meet you all again in 2020 in Rwanda. With that, I declare RC Conference 2018. Thank you. Thank you very much. His Excellency Professor Yusri Gamal. Professor Yusri Gamal was the chairman of the first remote sensing international conference held in the Arab Academy for Science and Technology in 1997. I was at that time in the scientific committee, and he always be supportive to scientific research and young researchers in general. Thank you, Professor Yusri. Thank you to the RC presidents, NARS presidents, Professor Ali, all the participants, our distinguished guests and participants. Thank you very much, and hope to see you more in the future. Thank you.